Hello and welcome to the Performer's Guide. My name is Krystin Railing and today we will be discussing filing your business paperwork. One of the first questions I get asked by my clients is, when is it time to file my business paperwork and what are the benefits of doing so? So it is true that you can operate a small business as an independent contractor under 1099 forms. However, this way of operating your business doesn't offer you the full benefits that you can get from being a business owner. Some of the benefits that you can get from actually filing your business paperwork as a sole proprietor or general business partnership include limiting your personal liability. It separates your business from your personal social security number. It also minimizes your tax liability. You're able to get more tax write-offs, deductions, and credits from being a small business owner than you would as just a 1099 contractor. Filing your business paperwork also helps you to avoid conflict with the other founders, who owns what percentage, who gets what. All of these conflicts can be nipped in the bud by filing your business paperwork and having all of your contracts and paperwork in place. And it can also create a legitimacy around your business and create more brand awareness than you would if you didn't have your EIN number or a DBA or your small business license. Most of the time people won't know if you have that license, but there comes a time when perhaps you need to send in some form or some more information. And if that information is missing, then the legitimacy of the business goes down. And it can also, from my opinion, the most important is it can help you raise more capital for your business. If you're an independent contractor trying to raise funds, again, you're less legitimate than you would be as a small business owner, both in the public's eyes, the federal government's eyes, as well as the bank. So if you are currently trying to raise money, then filing for your small business might actually significantly increase the amount of funds that are available to you, especially at the federal and bank level, because I mean, this has happened to me too, where me as an independent person denied for funding, but then as a small business owner, I was approved. And this has happened numerous times to me in my business. So for me, these alone signified to me that it was time for me to get my business license in order. The second question I get asked is, what exactly do I need to file to get my business up and running legally in my state? And I would say that these three are the basics for filing your business paperwork. And that is your business tax license, your fictitious business name, as well as your EIN number or TIN number. And the beauty about these is that you can do them one at a time, you could do them all together, and the fictitious business name and the EIN are both free. So it's pretty low cost way to get your business up and running. The only thing you're really going to be paying for is your business tax license, which is generally under $100 to get started. Then there's sort of a second layer of your business paperwork you can get filed. These are by no means mandatory, but they do allow for just more coverage over your business. And these would include getting your LLC or your Limited Liability Corporation filed. Many businesses also require specific permits to operate business in either that building, state, city, or whatever your theme of your business is, may have specific permits in order to continue running legally. And so you want to make sure you understand what those permits are. You may also need to get a trademark, copyright, or patent if you are creating new intellectual property or physical items that could potentially be replicated, copied, or stolen, you will want to attain your copyright, trademarks, and patents. And so now we're going to go through each one of these and sort of discuss what they are and how you would file them, okay? So the first thing that you need to file is your business tax license. One question I get asked is, should I do my DBA first, my EIN first, or my business tax license first? And I just think about it this way. If you don't have your business tax license, there is no business. And so it would not make sense to attach an EIN number or a DBA to a business that doesn't exist. So if you wanted to do the EIN or DBA before your business tax license, I kind of consider it putting the cart before the horse. The business tax license is the horse that leads your business to its license, okay? And so the way that we begin our journey to starting our business is we want to go to the Secretary of State website for whatever state you live in. So I live in Oregon, so I would type in Secretary of State, Oregon, and go there. And usually on their homepage, they have information for how to file your business tax license with the state. The second thing you may want to get is your fictitious business name, otherwise known as doing business as. This is not required for a business, but is necessary, especially if you will be receiving checks under a different name than your legal name. So for instance, my name is Krystin Railing. So my business license is naturally Railing Incorporated. So if I did not file a DBA, then my business would be Railing Incorporated. And if somebody wrote a check to the Performer's Guide, I'd have no way to be able to cash that at a bank because the bank wouldn't recognize my business name as being connected to my name. And so in my opinion, that's the most important reason why someone would need a DBA, is to show the banks, I am this business, so that you can take in the money that you need, okay? You can also file multiple DBAs under one business umbrella. So if you have multiple projects that are well-known, that you could be receiving checks to or are publicly promoted, you may want to get a DBA for each one of your businesses. The next thing that is important for you to get as a small business owner is your EIN or TIN number. And this is your employer identification number, otherwise known as your tax identification number. You basically want to consider this to be the social security number of your business. If you are an independent contractor, sole proprietor, you don't necessarily need an EIN number because you can just attach your business to your social security number. However, many times I don't want to give away my social security number when I'm applying for grants, funding, or jobs. So this allows me to keep my personal social security number more secure from fraud. And so I have an EIN number that represents my business. The other time you're really going to want to have an EIN number is if you're in a business partnership of any kind with 2 or more people, because then you have 2 social security numbers, theirs and yours, and that can get confusing. So you just combine one EIN number for that business, and that represents both you and your business partner for the business. The other time you're definitely going to want an EIN number is if you pay people. So if you are filing 1099s at the end of the year, or you hire 1099 employees, then you're not necessarily going to want to give them your social security number when you file your tax information at the end of the year. And so again, this will allow you to keep your personal Social Security number out of the hands of your employees. So those first three are basically the basic steps that one would take to file their business. And then the next steps are kind of the second layer for your business, okay? So the next step would be to get your LLC. You can have an LLC as both an independent sole proprietor or as a general business partnership. Both work just fine. The LLC allows you to add an extra layer of protection over your business that limits the liability from when people sue you. And I find this to be very important if you own a home or any large assets, or if you own a business that is likely to have incidences that you could get sued. Here's an example of the LLC paperwork. I will have all of this attached in the module as well for you to be able to download and review. Don't forget to get those licenses and permits that are specific for your business. This is often overlooked, and it's one of those things that I say it's okay until it's not. So I have a lot of people that say, oh, I've gone without insurance. I've gone without getting my fire permits. I've gone without getting my reseller's permit. That's fine until someone catches you, and then it's very much not fine. So just do it now. Don't wait until a mistake happens to get your permits. The next thing that's often overlooked is getting your agency licensing. So if you are a business owner who manages other performers in an agency way, then you need to get an agency licensing. So what this means is if you have more performers than what you would consider in your troupe of the active people that you perform with together, and you are managing people outside of that, you're an agent, and you may need to get additional licensing to operate legally in your state. These are the states that currently require agency licensing: Arizona, California, Connecticut, Florida, New Jersey, New York, and North Carolina. If you live in one of these states and you're operating as an agency without your licensing, you are actually operating business illegally. And so it's really important to find out how to get your agency licensing. It's not necessarily the easiest. There's a lot that kind of happens in your agency licensing. You have to get affidavits of character from other people around you. You have to send in your criminal record, your personal records. You have to get it embossed and stamped. There's a lot you got to do there, and it takes a little bit. And so that's kind of why people mostly avoid it. But if you have someone to work with you and helping you get it started, it's not actually that difficult, just time consuming. The next question I get asked a lot is, do I need a patent, trademark, or copyright for my new business? Maybe. That's usually my answer. Many people can get away with it. And again, it's one of those things that you don't need one until you need one, right? Until someone steals your property. And at that point, it's almost too late. So it's important to sort of be forward thinking about this and to get your paperwork in order so that by the time something happens, you've just already got your paperwork in place. So the other question is, a lot of times people get confused. What's the difference between a patent, trademark, and copyright? They kind of seem similar, and what goes to which, and when do I use what, right? So the patent is if you create a physical item. If you are considered an inventor, you invented something new that didn't exist before that you can have stolen. So you would want to get a patent. And then if somebody tried to replicate your invention, then you could take them to court. And here's an example of the paperwork. Again, all of this will be linked in the module below for you. Next, you might need a trademark. A trademark is used for intellectual property or digital design, something that you can't tangibly hold. So if you are creating any sort of intellectual property that you are sharing with other people to get feedback, you're kind of in a tough spot there, because they could look at your intellectual property and then just straight copy it and resell it for themselves. And so one way to nip that in the bud is to get all of your trademarks in place before sharing it with anybody else. It's also helpful to have an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. If you're ever going to be sharing any of your copyright, trademark, or patent ideas before they are copyrighted, then you can give yourself an extra layer of protection by adding an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement, meaning that they're not allowed to replicate or reshare any of the information you share with them. And again, here's an example of the first sheet of the paperwork. There's actually like a lot of papers in this one. It's quite long. And then you have a copyright. Copyrights are usually for written books, education, choreography, musical composition. These kinds of things would be copyrighted and are usually only copyrighted for a short amount of time, and then the copyright will end, allowing it to be available for public use. And the same thing happens with a patent as well. A patent is usually a limited patent. So that gives the inventor time to reap in the benefits of creating their product, while still giving the market a chance to enter after a certain amount of time, which allows it to be more beneficial for the people buying the products. So just remember that most of these are not final for the rest of your life. They're limited to allow you to create and finish your product. And here's an example of that paperwork as well. And most of these are multi-page. I just kind of wanted to give you a view of what the first page looked like in case you were looking for them online. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Krystin Railing, and this is the Performer's Guide. Have a wonderful day.